Yo, what's good? I'm finally back, and I just wanted to go ahead and talk about things that I want to change around, with my channel. No, I don't have the biggest channel in the world, obviously. If you look at my subscriber list and all of that, but I'm not really worried about, that at all, you know. And I do appreciate every single one of the subscribers that I do have that actually take the time out to check out my videos. But I'm at a point right now where, I like to change things up, you know what I'm saying? And you're probably like, well, we don't really need an explanation, but on certain occasions when you got a channel and you decide that you want to change things up, and you do it without kind of letting your subscribers know, it really changes not just the relationship that you may have with your subscribers, but it also changes the algorithm in which your videos get views and things like that. Like I said, I don't have a massive channel, so it's not going to be so dramatic, but I just respect the people that decided to hit the subscribe button, very much so to just kind of give them an idea that I will start talking about different things. And I love talking about life things. I love talking about my people's culture. I love talking about things that that transpires that affects people in a way that it holds them down and holds them back. And I like to be able to touch on those points and clarify things so people can have more of an idea on how to move. You know what I'm saying? Hold on. Oh man, but for the most part, I have another side too, man. I like to talk about opportunities, investment opportunities, right? I'm not a guy that that just talks about one specific aspect. And when I started the channel, I was in a point in place where I was very angry with a lot of things. I was very angry with how the country has been ran. I was very angry about things not being taught in early adulthood as well as child adulthood. And I wanted to bring that to attention to people, that way they could understand, exactly what I experienced, and just bring it to your knowledge that these things transpired, and it may have transpired with you, in your life. And, like I said, I was very angry at that time, when I first started this channel. So you got a lot of videos of me really putting a lot of stuff on Front Street. And that doesn't mean that I'm never going to speak upon those things again, because it has never went away. So the things that I've talked about, they have never went away. They're still here. The government is still, actively, holding people back and causing a lot of issues for the citizens of this country. They're still doing that. They might be more quiet about it now. Have you guys noticed that? They're not talking about it. You don't see Trump all over the place like he once was, because something is transpiring. Something is going on behind closed doors. Anytime somebody's quiet about something, that's when you should be worried. Not when they're, doing a bunch of yapping and, and shit talking and stuff like that. That's when, they don't have shit going on. But when they quiet and they not talking about nothing and they not always on Front Street, something is transpiring behind closed doors. So that you can get an understanding on that. So don't take your eye off of the ball. You understand what I'm saying? And there's plenty of channels out there, man, that talk about the things that I talk about when it comes to certain things of life. There's quite a bit of channels, but my channel is not going to be solidified on just one angle. I'm going to talk about many different things. And the reason for what I'm talking about now is that I'm going to talk about moving into the card collecting industry, right? And I believe right now in that industry, this is what I'm going to call the second coming, or the second boom of the card industry. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because it's a perfect opportunity to be able to place yourself in a market that is doing very, very well, right? So you have 2020. If you guys remember 2020, when the pandemic and everything was going on, the card market had went straight up. I'm talking about from flat, like one of the roller coasters that you may see at a theme park, straight up. And after 2020, things started to go back, and people started going back to work, and things started changing. From 2021 to 2022, the card market took a nosedive, right? And in that time frame, it took a nosedive, and things started happening to early investors at that time. The investors that kind of came in and bought up, some very good cards. And I'm specifying cards like your sports cards, your animation cards, your illustration cards, all types of cards. In the 2020 era, that was a very special time, along with other things, but this was a very special time for the card market because, like I said, if you were in at that specific time and you had certain cards, not even certain cards, it was a bundle of different cards. If you got those cards, your exponential return went straight up. It could have happened in a day, it could have happened in 2 days, 3 days, a week, it could have happened, period. And if you didn't cash out at the top of that point, then obviously you would have lost money, and in some cases a lot. Okay, so what I'm saying is that this is the second coming. Usually every 5 to 10 years, massive markets, billion-dollar markets, they normally have booms, like the tech boom. Remember the tech boom in the 2000? If you guys are not too young, it was a boom, right? And that went crazy, right? And you had the gold rush, right? Also in the mid 2000s, you had Bitcoin, shit like that. And it's no different, right? The card market is its own market itself, okay? And it's real, and it's something that I believe is going to evolve into something more special than, just some dude showing up, to a card market, to a card show. Like, this is a hyper market. You're right now, if you're listening to what I'm saying, you're in a hyper card market. Hyper, that means everything is going fast, like that. Okay, nothing is speculative as much as it once was. Like right now, everything is fast. The knowledge that you need on certain things to come into you fast. You just got to be able to recognize. You got to be able to understand what you're buying, why you're buying it, and can it produce results in the future time? Can it produce a profit for you now? There's a short term, and then there's a long term, okay? So believe me when I tell you, if you are listening to what I'm saying, you have a big opportunity to position yourself to make some good money in this hyper card market right now, okay? So remember, in 2020, it was flat, and then the market took off, and then it crashed, okay? Because that's just what markets do. They have these levels of explosions and flat, and flat years, and that's what the card market does. But the beautiful thing about the card market is that based on the type of cards that you get, let's say the sports card industry, right? If you get Hall of Fame legends, that's something that you can always hold on to. Those guys are always going to have so much value attached to their name, right? And what better it is to be able to invest into their name, you know what I'm saying? And also be able to hold their name for a long period of time, right? But a lot of people will be like, oh, why don't you just do the stock market and, you know, think, fuck the stock market, man. Fuck the stock market. The stock market is for billionaires. The stock market is for billionaires, and they will fuck you anytime they get a chance. It is not for the average person. I'm talking about average as if you're making $60,000 a year, $50,000 a year. The stock market ain't for you. You could do it, but I can guarantee it that you're not going to see nothing special. Now, if you do the card market, it's a nice entry buy-in. You understand sports. You understand animation. If you understand, and those are the things that the average person was raised upon. The average dude, a black man, you know, you wasn't raised with, you know, stocks and all of that shit because it didn't come around your culture. It did not. Yeah, you can learn it now, and I'm not saying that you can't be special and learn it, but you grew up watching sports, right? You grew up watching animation. So now you have the opportunity to put that knowledge and your research into a market that has been here forever. Just people always thought it was, you know, like some geeky, nerdy shit. And, you know, in some cases it is, depending on what you're doing. Like if you're doing those weird games, like you actually play with the cards and shit. And yeah. But I'm talking about investment. I'm talking about turning a card into a profit. That's what I'm talking about. So with that being said, you have an opportunity now. This is, to me, the second coming. This is the second boom. And like I said, if you miss the next 5 years, because I think this is a transition from where it's at in the next 5 years to something even more special, right? We're talking 2025, 26, 27, 20, somewhere upwards to 2029 to 2030. You know what I'm saying? You have an opportunity to place yourself in a position to build some, you know, some profit and some portfolios, man, when it comes to this market. Okay? So do some research, and you don't have to take my word for it, but I'm going to be talking about this shit now on my channel. So I don't want people to be, you know, alarmed or shocked or upset. You know what I'm saying? If you do, I can't really help you because this is my channel and I decide to, you know, talk about what I want to talk about, but I just had to respect enough for you guys hitting that button that you should know that it'll change. Okay? But long story short, or short story long, as always, thanks for watching. New subscribers, existing subscribers, thanks. And remember, the truth is always in session. Peace.